Good evening, Bahrain. I'm Bernadette from Gulf Brands International, and you're watching Wine Online Wednesday. We're now on episode 16, and it's Pinot the White Edition. Or actually, I think tonight is pretty good if you're an X-Man fan, because we're going to talk about mutants. We've got 3 white wines here, and you may not think it, but these are some serious mutants we have here. So where does the white Pinot come from? Well, you're probably already familiar with Pinot Noir, because a few episodes ago we did the Pinot Noir edition of various wines. The Pinot Noir is the original grape behind the white Pinots. So it mutated, and it mutated into the Pinot Grigio, the Pinot Gris, and the Pinot Blanc. How did this chain of events happen? Well, it's all got to do with the anthocyanins that are in the Pinot Noir grape. So the Pinot Noir grapes have got this kind of dark bluish, grey, purpley colour. So as the mutation happened, the colour lightened from Pinot Grigio through Pinot Gris and ended up in Pinot Blanc. So very closely related, but we're going to see that these are 3 quite different wines. So we've got the Pinot Grigio of the trio tonight is from California, Central Coast, from the godfather of wine over there, Robert Mondavi. In the middle, we're going to the Old World, and we're going to have a Pinot Blanc. This is from Alsace, Cave de Turckheim, from the hillsides of Alsace, a very traditional place to find the Pinot Blanc grape. And then we're going to go all weird and go down to Australia and find Pinot Gris in southern Australia, which is definitely not its homeland. So that's the lineup for tonight. I think we'll get cracking with the Pinot Grigio. So here we go. This is Californian Robert Mondavi, the godfather of wine in California and the Central Coast. Very influential man, and developed very influential winemaking techniques. So let's see what he's done with this Pinot Grigio. So we'll have a look at the colour first. It's quite a deep, glowing straw colour, very attractive, little transparent edges there. Let's see how it is on the nose. I'm getting apples, green apples slightly getting ripe. A little hint of citrus, but I think the apple is developing more here. So how about we'll have a sip? Let's see how it goes. Flavours develop through. We've got our apple. Yeah. And a hint of citrus. Now, if you were to compare this to an Italian Pinot Grigio, because the most popular Pinot Grigio originated in Italy, and it will have a quite different flavour profile. It would probably have a bit more lemony notes coming through. So this is a rounder style with more apple. Yeah, okay. Now I'm picking up something else here as well. Let's just have another sip. There is a little greenness coming through. I think the best way to describe it is the leaf, lemon verbena. So it's not fresh citrus zingy lemon, like you've just squeezed it or you've zested some lemon. It's more like the lemon that you get from the lemon verbena when you rub the leaf. And it's that lovely, slightly fresh but a green sensation. And I think this is influenced by the winemaking here. So when the grapes are picked, they're picked at night, so it's the coolest possible temperature, so the fruit is very stable, and taken into the winery, and they press the whole cluster. So when you press the whole cluster, you've got all the stems and maybe a few leaves still attached. And I think that little greenery in the pressing is just coming out very, very subtle. But it's giving it the dry sensation without being too fruity. cold fermentation in steel, and all the way in steel, no trace of oak. Actually, all the wines tonight, completely unoaked. So these are really fruit-driven wines. I think this is a very food-friendly wine. Yeah. Okay, let's come back to some food suggestions later. Okay, moving on, Alsace, traditional country for the Pinot Blanc grape. So, as we're saying, the Pinot Blanc, it's also in Italy, it's known as Pinot Bianco, Blanc French, Bianco Italian for white, and might not be so well known or grown so widely, but a very interesting wine that is used in is Franciacorta. Franciacorta is a sparkling wine from the north of Italy, and it's made in the same method champenoise, as champagne. It's considered the champagne of Italy. It's absolutely gorgeous stuff, and the predominant grape used there is Pinot Bianco. Pinot Bianco is also used for sparkling wine in Alsace, from where this wine is from. There it's called the Crémant, the cream of Alsace. But we're on the still wine. So, Cave de Turckheim, a family company, founded, it's about over 50 years now, 1955, I believe. And they've been making wine consistently in a very traditional way. In Alsace, the vineyards are famous for sloping hillsides. It's quite far north in France, so it needs every bit of sunshine that it can get. So the best vineyards are the ones facing the sun, so that the grapes can get all that sun and heat. So let's see how this Pinot Blanc is. Yeah, so the nose is a little bit more prominent than the Pinot Grigio, and there's fruit notes, some soft peach, some gentle citrus, and these continue on the palate. You're getting the same flavors, and it lingers a little bit longer. I think that the flavors are a little bit richer here. They kind of draw your attention in. And if we taste a little bit more, it's a very gentle hint of smokiness. Now, that's quite peculiar because no wood, no oak has been here. Having said that, this wine is made in the traditional way. It's hand-picked grapes. They're very careful with their grapes. It has the parcels are vinified separately, so they've got little strategic parcels of Pinot Blanc in the vineyards. They vinify each one separately, and then they prepare their blend of Pinot Blanc. And I think that is allowed for some deeper flavors to come through. As I said, it's traditional, so they don't fine it, which means it's like a filtration, and actual filtration is minimal. So anything which would deliver some extra flavor from the fermentation of the fruit would come through. Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm smelling citrus, and then I'm getting some peaches, maybe with a hint of almond. Oh, lovely. Okay, and now we go to the crazy people down in Australia. This is La La Land. It's a project as part of Deakin Estate in southern Australia, in Victoria. A relatively young vineyard down there in Deakin Estate. The La La Land offshoot has got some creative winemakers who have taken grape varieties from all over the world and said, we can have fun with these. We've got the right place to grow them, and let's see what we can do. So they've taken on Pinot Gris. Now, Pinot Gris, again, is considered a traditional grape from the Alsace region, from up north. It has now travelled all over the world, and you would find it in places like New Zealand, especially. It's doing really well. But let's see what the guys from La La Land have done with this. So we've actually got quite a dark colour. The three wines tonight are quite dark in colour. It's the style of the grape. Okay, and clear. Let's Let's have a little. Ooh. Ooh. That's it's quite aromatic. Pears, some tropical fruit, nectarines, but there's a little flowery whiff in there as well. Of the Pinots, of the white Pinots, the warmer the climate, the more fruitier the flavour and the taste. So you can say that the Californian and the Alsace, these are from a cooler climate, and southern Australia, obviously from Victoria, has got a warmer climate. So the grapes are obviously coming across in more fruit concentration. Let's get in there. Shall we see how it is? It's a fruit fest. There's citrus, tropical fruits, not lychee. That'd be too sweet. More juicy pears. Yeah. Broad mouth-filling experience going on here. Part of the technique in making this wine, again, it's all in steel, but as it's maturing, they leave the yeast in the tanks, so it's considered as sur lie, on the lees, which is the yeast. And then every week or so, the whole tank is stirred to get these yeast particles circulating throughout the wine, and that's giving it a hint of creaminess. Now, the same technique is used on the Mondavi wine from California, but I think here we're getting more of the creamy flavours coming through. Oh, yeah. I consider this to be more of a playful wine, and I think the guys from La La Land have summed it up lovely. If you look at the label, there we go, it's very pictorial label, Pinot Gris, and there's an image, it looks like a fantasy place or South Sea Islands or something, and there's a very beautiful woman here with a flower in her hair, so maybe that's where the flower notes, and she's walking away from you, but she's got her hand back behind. And if you remember, it's a little while ago, there was a social media phenomenon of this couple who were traveling the world, and wherever they went to a beauty spot in the world, they took a photo of the lady leading the photographer by the hand into a beautiful view, and they've just captured it here. And I think this is a playful wine. It's actually enticing. I think if this was a real mutant, it would be Magneto. It's attracts you, it pulls you in. Yeah, I think that's a lovely sipping and savouring wine. If we go back to our Californian Pinot Grigio, this is, I think, a great food-friendly wine. Very reliable, would go with anything. Yeah, and the Alsace, I think this has got to be the traditional expression, even of winemaking. It's producing everything that the region is known for, and everything is coming through there. I thought tonight we would just consider some Bahraini dishes. What would you match these with? So I think the Pinot Grigio, the food-friendly wine, would go very nice with matchboos, with prawns, and because there's yogurt in the dish, I think that that would stabilise nicely with this. I think it would work well. Then I think for the Pinot Blanc, I think grilled hamor with just some subtle spicing would work here. Yeah, I think it would work. If a hint of savoury spices, and some little flavours coming through here. And then I think for La La Land, umali, maybe the pistachios, the nuts would come along nicely with some sweetness coming through with the playful wine. Yeah, so there you go. 3 expressions of the Pinot grape. You've got your traditional Pinot Grigio from California. You've got your food-friendly Pinot Grigio from California, your traditional expression of Pinot Blanc from Alsace, and then rather a playful interpretation of Pinot Gris all the way from Australia. So hope you enjoy your Pinot tonight. Thank you.